In Roblox pressure, we are all aware that the little 80s computer is tied up to the black side to control everything around him. But did you ever consider how running a facility may have lasting effects on this computer? That another AI was trying to seek control over the other, perhaps damaging them in the process. Today, we are going to dive right into over-analyzing the hell out of Painter's struggles while controlling the facility, and how it damages him, potentially permanently. We all know that Z-779 is completely responsible over the turrets and for shifting the facility to better suit Sebastian's and Hill's needs. But despite all this, we all know that there's an even greater obstacle within the facility that perhaps even dims Painter's ability as an operator. Navi AI, the opposing force to Painter, is no AI to mess with. Especially if she's also responsible for the facility as a whole. She was initially created for that purpose. But wait a minute. Painter's also responsible for the facility. So there lies an even bigger issue. If both AIs as a whole are completely responsible for everything that happens in a facility, then there lies an even bigger issue. Perhaps a power dynamic, or even a power collision. Now, why is this a problem? If both AIs are responsible for complete control over the facility, then there's definitely some sort of power collision there. And it's even more of a problem when we realize that it's quite likely that both AIs are fighting for complete control over the facility. Painter, as his AI sentient self, is fighting for freedom and for Sebastian's, while Navi, on the other hand, is fighting for her purpose back, which both are quite moral in terms of wanting control compared to the world itself. They both make sense. Considering they are both fighting for quite moral reasons for control, there are likely to be some effects on both AIs, perhaps even irreversible effects. Even Sebastian himself explains that Painter has overclocked his circuits, which is definitely an issue. If you didn't already know, the term overclocking means to run a program like a computer faster than it should to perform its duties more efficiently. However, despite its efficiency, it definitely results in permanent damage. Now, a computer overclocking likely means they've overheated in some way. And although there are no specific evidence or voice lines to suggest any of the AIs are overheating, there are some visual cues in the game that can illustrate this in grave detail. For example, in Navi's room you can see there are a lot of cooling fans. Cooling fans are actually used for computers to cool them down if they're overheating. Considering there are a lot of cooling fans in Navi's room, even in Painter's, it's quite apparent that they are definitely overheating. Not to mention Navi's room is significantly more foggy compared to Painter. Now you could argue that the fog is just kind of there to make it more aesthetically creepy, but honestly, I beg to differ. Symbolism in horror games are used all the time. Trust me, I know. Not calling out FNAF. But in my humble opinion, this game is known for symbolism, especially in the dialogue and conversations. Speaking of symbolism in dialogue, during the conversations we hear, we constantly hear Sebastian asking Painter if he's okay.
Not requesting anything, just wanted to check in and hear how you're doing.
Oh, could be worse, I suppose.
Keep your head up. I'll be coming for you soon.
Considering Painter's response here, is evident that he's actually not okay. But the way he differs from Navi is that he hides it. He hides his ongoing war and internal conflict from Navi AI and himself. Also, it says in his document that he's literally depressed. Just a side note. But more evidence to suggest that he's actually hiding it is when a specific node entity walks in. or runs across the halls. You come across an old entity at the same time you encounter a fake door. There are some hidden messages behind them. Some messages include, I just want to paint landscapes again, or even worse, я не выпьяки. The Russian phrase я не выпьяки actually means I am not okay, or in some instances it can mean I am not in order, which honestly is quite a dark way to say I'm not okay. There are also some very cryptic messages like, please stop, for my sake. Like, what is this guy? He's actually pleading at this point. He's that unstable. And don't even start to argue that these messages are not from Painter because he's the one who manipulates good people. Good people. Yes, sorry, that was awful. Another thing to note is that when a node entity walks through when you're in Painter's room, the lights in his room actually turn from blue to red. In Prussia, the association with red is usually to do with urban shade or navy. Perhaps all of this symbolism means more. That maybe despite the happy music in Painter's room, that he's actually having a lot more internal or maybe external conflicts inside him. Just a side note, though, that I didn't actually script. It's quite apparent that Painter himself actually has had a personality shift to a more demonic, psychopathic killer. He gets really annoyed, especially at himself, which is actually concerning. Not only is he being annoyed at the expendable, but he's annoyed at himself. What's even worse is that he's actually turning into the very thing that Urban Shade said he'd be, a walking crypto mining corpse. That he'll become a shell with absolutely no desire to draw. And by the time the expendable, you, come into the facility, it has already started to happen. Especially considering Sebastian and Painter have this interaction.
Everything okay over there?
Yeah, I've been meaning to paint something while we're waiting, and I just can't think of anything to draw. I was thinking about another scene, but I can hardly even remember what the sun looks like, let alone anything else on the surface.
You could try to paint something other than landscapes for a change.
But landscapes are kind of the only thing I'm used to.
Yeah, but it's good to branch out sometimes, you know? Especially when you're in a bit of a creative block.
What else would I paint?
Here we can even see that Painter is definitely becoming the shell that Urban Shade said he'd be. And that's very bad. It's showing his boredom and sense of loss in his sanity. In conclusion, it's apparent that both Navi and Painter are struggling with their own internal conflicts and to gain control over the black site. The only difference being is that one hides their internal conflict better than the other. Ultimately, I would describe the AI preference relationship to be very parasitic. Navi has had her purpose stripped from her, while Painter actually has all the power except he's hurt inside still. He took the purpose because he's not stable. Now his purpose intent is to actually serve his best friend Sebastian with his loyalty. Okay, thank you for listening to me rant on about some unstable AI because I'm unstable too. Just a disclaimer, I'm not actually Russian. I'm just learning Russian, and the reason why my game is Russian is because I'm learning it and it's better for my well-being. And another thing, just because I'm learning Russian does not mean I support Putin. He is the absolute worst. Now that's out the way, I can actually introduce myself because none of you guys would actually like me to introduce myself before the video, cause that's time consuming. I am Russian Spy. I like to do analyze videos, drawings, and animation. Even some comic dubs that you've probably all seen, and honestly, it's kinda cringe. And just another side note, if any of you guys are actually unstable, like me, woo, then I wish you farewell. And if you do wish to kill yourself, don't. Even if you don't have people around you right now, there's likely someone else out there who will one day love you for who you are. Trust me, the killing yourself route is just not worth it. If you enjoyed this video, then good on you. Like and subscribe. Or don't, I really don't care. I'm literally just doing this for entertainment and fun. Now everything that's cringy is out the way, I can confidently say this is Russian Spy signing out for the very first time. Have a nice day, people.